So you're wondering what digital marketing is, what it isn't, how it may be used in a business context, or maybe you're just interested in becoming a digital marketer yourself, or potentially you're hiring for a digital marketer. So in this video, I'm going to unpack what digital marketing is, what it isn't, and we'll explore other forms of marketing, including traditional or otherwise known as offline marketing. Before we can get into the idea of digital marketing, we need to go all the way back to the basics and answer the question, what is marketing? This is my definition of marketing. It's the process of creating interest, a desire, or a need to your prospective customers in order to evoke its value. In many ways, it's really a form of communicating, right? It's a communication tool. Within the corporate environment, we're now trying to find a way to systemize that communication with our, not just prospects, but customers as well. If we now answer the question, what is communication? How do we communicate? In a general sense, we communicate through words, through images, through video, through sound. For the academic people, let's explore some academic definitions of what marketing is. So Cambridge says, marketing is the business activity that involves finding out what customers want, using that information to design products and services, and selling them effectively. So now this is where we start to get into the realm of different definitions of marketing, and that will really depend in the business context that you're explaining it in or the situation that you're in. Another definition by Collins is marketing is the organization of the sale of a product, for example, deciding on its price, the areas it should be supplied to, and how it should be advertised. So we're starting to see again marketing as a process, but now we're starting to see segments of what that process is. So to summarize that, I'll go back to my definition just for the sake of simplifying it. It's essentially a process of communicating the value of a product, and your role as a marketer is evoking the value of that, whether that's an idea, a product, or a service. Marketing doesn't necessarily always have to be applied in a business context, right? So when we think of politics, even religion, or even in this video, me educating you, it's a form of communicating and me evoking the value of the video you're watching, right? And there's hundreds of different forms of value. I keep mentioning the word value: intrinsic value, monetary value, perceived value. But maybe that's for another video. Again, to summarize, we're communicating the value of an idea, product, or a service. So now we can go to the whole point of the video, which is, what is digital marketing? Digital marketing is essentially the same thing as I just mentioned, now deployed within digital channels and through the internet, right? Digital marketing is the process of creating interest, a desire, or a need to your prospective customers in order to evoke its value using digital channels, i.e. any device or tool that requires the internet. So that's one of the main differences between traditional marketing or offline marketing to digital marketing, is that now digital marketing, we need the internet to apply that type of marketing to our prospective customers or past customers. So let's get a bit more specific. What digital marketing channels or tools can we actually use in order to communicate to our audiences? First one is content marketing. So you watching this video, this is a form of content, or video content more specifically. You can also use images, or within the realm of podcasting, audio. Second is SEO, or what we know as search engine optimization. So this is, again, if we go all the way back to, let's say way back in the 1980s, you couldn't essentially market to people who had a very specific process of educating themselves first before buying a product, right? The way you would do that as a business is through newspapers or magazines, but even then you're essentially using blind luck and hoping that piece you've written about to educate your customers will actually be read by your customers or your audiences. So whereas in SEO, in the realms of digital marketing, now we can say, I know that my prospects research for these topics. Now I can start to create content or blog posts or start to use metadata in order to meet their intent or the fact that they want to educate themselves on the product or service that I'm selling. Third one is paid advertising. We were always able to use advertising or paid advertising even back in the early 1900s. But what I'm discussing here is paid advertising through media channels or grouped channels such as paid social, which is using social media to advertise, paid search, which is Google search, Yahoo search, or even Microsoft search, or programmatic display and video advertising, as well as audio advertising, right? Whereas previously, prior to digital marketing, we didn't have those channels. Next one here is social media. This is a huge one, whether that's Facebook, Meta, X, or Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp, or even YouTube. These are forms of us being able to communicate with our audiences. And there's more of an interactivity, which is a huge difference. Whereas before, again, traditional marketing, we would advertise, it was more of a one-way street. Now in digital marketing, we can instantly get feedback from our prospects or customers, right? So we can create a social media post and we'd get people commenting on that specific post. Whether that's negative or positive is a different conversation, but now there's more of an interactivity, right? There's a three-dimensional aspect to it. Number 5, email marketing, whereas previously you would send in physical letters through mail. Now you can do that in the digital sense. When someone has an email account, you can directly message them, assuming they've given you permission to email that specific email address. Number 6 is a huge one, data analysis. This is one of the main positives of digital marketing, at least for marketers, right? Now we have visibility and a bit more accurate understanding of attributions for our conversions. Whether that's us understanding where did this specific website traffic come from, where did this purchase come from, where did this lead come from. We're better able to attribute where those KPIs or where those metrics came from. Whereas previously, now I'm reading a book by Claude C. Hopkins. Actually, I've read the book already. It's called My Life in Scientific Advertising, which I can actually quickly find. I'd recommend you reading this if you really want to learn some context about the history of marketing or how it was done previously. It's called My Life in Advertising and Scientific Advertising by Claude C. Hopkins. It's actually 2 books in one. But going back to the topic of the video, attribution, back in the day, 1900s, the way they would attribute is essentially they would deploy a product launch in a specific town or a very granular area of a city, and they would figure out the sales for that specific product, right? There was not a lot of the capabilities that we have now as digital marketers where we could do A/B testing with different headlines dynamically, right? Previously, once you launch a campaign, it's very static. There wasn't flexibility to it, and we'll talk more about that in a couple of seconds. So that's data analysis. We have a better understanding of how our marketing campaigns are affecting our customers and as well as the revenue for the business. Number 7, website and app. Right? Whereas previously you would have as a business, you would have a storefront in a specific street. The only way for a person to discover is either through passing by that storefront or through word of mouth. Whereas now if you have a website, anyone around the world can essentially go to your website and understand what your business is, the types of product you sell, and even buy from you online, right? Same exact thing for an app. The only difference between your website and app is your app can only be accessed through a mobile phone or a mobile device. And then finally, number 8 is affiliate or influencer marketing. So we've always been able to use media partners or celebrities, for example, to advertise products or services. But now that's evolved into the idea of even using micro-influencers, right? Individuals who might not have massive followings, but they still have influence over potential prospects. We can now use the internet to partner up with those influencers to sell our products. So it's a lot more seamless. Whereas previously, let's say trying to make a deal with celebrity, you would have to obviously contact them, maybe liaise, strategize a contract, discuss terms and conditions. You would need a whole media team to create the content that needs to be used for the partnership. Whereas now it's a lot more seamless, right? You can have the influencer themselves create the content to advertise your product. So that's not an extensive list of the available digital marketing channels, but these are the main ones you need to keep in mind. We know what digital marketing is. Let's briefly talk about what digital marketing is not. Digital marketing isn't viral videos. It's not about viral social media posts, right? That's an extension of content marketing or an extension of social media, but it doesn't necessarily relate to evoking the need for your product or service in the traditional sense. Second is posting in social media. So I would be very wary of a business only focusing on social media to essentially sell products or services. As mentioned, social media or content marketing, it's an extension of digital marketing, but it isn't solely digital marketing. Next, number 3 is digital marketing is not traditional marketing. So now let's unpack that very briefly. Traditional marketing is physical billboards, radio, newspaper or magazine listings. What else? Banner ads or images or photographs within a storefront, for example. Essentially, any form of marketing that doesn't utilize the internet is traditional marketing. So again, digital marketing isn't traditional marketing, but they fall under the same discipline, which is marketing. Next is digital marketing is not a set and forget strategy, right? So it isn't static. Whereas previously, let's say you would have a marketing campaign to advertise a specific car. Let's say you're an automobile company. You would have a billboard in a specific area or maybe in a specific city. The problem is, once that billboard is up, there is no way for you to be flexible in terms of changing the image or changing the headline or some of the details of that specific billboard. Whereas now with digital marketing, you can literally dynamically change a headline, an image or a video or a sound of a specific piece of advertising within scale, within seconds. So it isn't necessarily, there's a flexibility to it. There's a 3-dimensional approach with our marketing campaigns. And then finally, this is more of a debatable one. I'll add it in anyway. Digital marketing is not sales. Although traditionally, even in ancient times, when we think of the way marketing was way back, let's say in the 1500s or even prior to that, it wasn't called marketing back then. But marketing sales was essentially one process, right? You would have, let's say, marketplace, let's say in Turkey, you were in the Grand Bazaar, you would essentially try to call out people, try to get them invited into your storefront. You would use your words to essentially influence them to buy your product, right? So it's your marketing and selling at the same time. Whereas now we're starting to see there's a siloed process to that, right? There's marketing and then there's sales. But even though digital marketing is not exclusively sales, within the function of marketing, there's really a fine line, right? So not every business necessarily needs a salesperson. Let's say you're an e-commerce brand that exclusively sells online. So let's say you don't have a storefront. You don't necessarily need a salesperson. You could, in theory, use your website as the salesperson, or you could even use your marketing campaigns as a way to incline sales. So that's what digital marketing is and what it isn't. Let me know what you think digital marketing is in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Up until next time, peace.